You don't have to have a natural talent for sports, but you have to be able to move. And I think that's the biggest lesson, is finding your way and finding what you like. So I want to give kids the opportunity for that, and then to lead into lifelong fitness and movement.
Hi, welcome to Fit Kids Conversations. I'm your host, David Jacobson, and today I'm joined by Jessica Byers. Jessica is the Executive Director for the Governor's Advisory Council on Physical Fitness and Mental Well-Being. Jessica, thanks a bunch for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So Jessica, can you tell me a bit about the Advisory Council and your role on it?
So as the Executive Director of the Governor's Advisory Council on Physical Fitness and Mental Well-Being, our main mission is to promote equitable access to physical activity and mental well-being resources. So with that, we have our council. It's co-chaired by Governor's spouse, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, as well as Pro Football Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott, and then has a variety of other members on the council, including celebrities such as Kristi Yamaguchi, Brandi Chastain, Stewart, and then a variety of other health and wellness professionals out in the field, all that have kind of that same mission of promoting access and equitable health and wellness resources.
Great. And our own Executive Director at Fit Kids, Ashley Hunter, is on that council, proudly so. And she talks to us about it as staff. Just wonderful work and big impact. Can you talk about some of the main things that you feel have been achieved over the last couple of years?
So I've been serving as Executive Director for the last year. And so we've made a lot of progress. One of our biggest things is that we have launched our campaign called Move Your Body, Calm Your Mind. So we have a website associated with that, moveyourbodycalmyourmind.org, as well as a media campaign out there. You might see it scrolling through social media or on the local news. So we've really just wanted to get that message out there about move your body, calm your mind. The council is currently working on some best practices. So really we want to uplift some practices that are already out in the communities, things like bringing fit kids into schools or into the community in order to increase opportunities for physical activity and mental well-being. And we have a variety of other close partners that we've established relationships to really uplift their work and make sure that, that people have that access to those resources when they might not know where to turn.
You've got an event coming up May 1st, I believe, and would love to hear about that and how that is moving your cause forward and some of what's involved in that event.
So May 1st, we are having an event at the state capitol here in Sacramento, Move Your Body, Calm Your Mind Day. So it's really just a day to celebrate the importance of incorporating movement and mindfulness into everyday life. So as you all know, May is an important month. It's Mental Health Month, it's Physical Activity and Fitness Month, and it's also Older American Month. So with all those things, it's kind of a celebration of those things and bringing the importance of mindfulness and movement to the community, having that community event and that sense of belonging, offering a variety of activities. It's not always one activity that people are interested in, but it's important to show that there's so many different activities that you can get involved in and just reap the health benefits of physical activity and mental well-being.
I know you're still working on Run of Show, even as you are fast approaching this huge event and everything, but whatever you can tell us about attractions and activities, more specifically at the event, we'd love to hear about that.
So the event's going to run from 11:30 to 3 on the west steps at the Capitol. During that time, we'll have a health and wellness vendor informational type fair. So there'll be vendor booths set up with a variety of organizations, including Fit Kids. We'll have Positive Fitness Coaching Alliance. We'll have Center for Healing and Justice through Sport. We'll have a variety of activities, including yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, just a variety of activities, again, just to show the community that there's all kinds of movement opportunities out there. You don't need a lot of resources. Being outside is another great way to show like the importance of nature and bringing the community together.
It sounds like an event that really anybody could benefit from. Is there a particular crowd you're hoping to attract, or who would you envision being most impacted by the day?
The event is open to all, so it's an open public event, and so anyone could stop by. You don't have to stop by for the whole time, even if you can grab a half hour to come by and see the different activities that we have available. We are also incorporating some kids from local schools. So we'll have a variety of 3rd to 6th graders there too. So starting them young and getting that exposure to an event like this and the different activities and to their community is really important to the council as well.
And some of the folks you mentioned on the council, I understand may attend, is that correct?
Yeah, we're hoping to have council representatives at the event. We will have a small speaking session at the event. So from 12:30 to 1, we're planning on a speaking session just to speak to the importance of incorporating mindfulness and movement together. They're both really important, in separate entities, but they're also important to bring together in that intersection. So when we're, participating in physical activity, also thinking about how our mind's reacting to it and the benefits that we're reaping from movement and the ability to sort of calm our mind, right? Everybody's lives are crazy nowadays. So just having that moment sometimes to realize that we just need to sit still and pay attention to our bodies and take the rest.
So it sounds like a terrific event, and it raises the questions about the links between physical fitness and mental well-being. It sounds like this council was very intentionally named, and I feel like the pandemic and the examination of mental health that occurred in our country during that time and the tie to physical fitness became much more pronounced than a lot of people had thought of before. Can you talk about the intentionality of the naming and the programming that ties the two together?
Yeah, the campaign is really, and the council's work too, is really aimed about finding that intersectionality between movement and mindfulness. We all know that movement's important. We have our standards that come out from the CDC telling us how much we should move to achieve health benefits. But a lot of times we kind of miss that mindfulness part. So you'll see a lot of, for example, now we'll see a lot of athletes, collegiate, professional athletes participating in some kind of ritual beforehand, just to kind of clear their mind and make sure that they're ready for the task at hand. And just to really be able to pay attention to your body and your mind and make that connection to lead the healthiest life that you can. I mean, it's not just about being physical fit. Movement is not just about, having muscles or being able to PR in a marathon. It's just really about like being able to aid health to your body.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks for that. I would love to hear a little bit about your own journey. Talk about your physiology background and kind of how that led into the position you now have.
I grew up in a super tiny town in rural Northern California, and there wasn't a lot of access or opportunities to many things. So I had 2 older brothers and pretty much had no choice but to play sports because that was all that there was to do. But that being said, the only girls' sport was basketball. So everything else was mainly the boys' sport, but the girls could play. So me and, sprinkle of other girls throughout the years would participate in, we played soccer, we played baseball. We didn't have softball, but we had to play baseball with the boys. But just not having that access, but just having to find your way and really make your way into it instead of having such an easy opportunity to play things like that. Just at even a young age, just really, I was like, why can't we have all this? Why can't, why is it so hard to play? And we had to travel an hour for our home games. Like it was just an incredible amount of work to put on parents and looking back at it even more so. So it just kind of led me into this kind of sport. I wanted to do physical therapy. I wanted to do sports medicine. So I ended up in college doing kinesiology because that was the closest thing that Chico State had. So I just chose to go that route because it was the most sport specific. And just always had that passion to help. And actually, even in high school, my senior project was on physical education programs and the lack of minutes that students were getting and the lack of opportunities and exposure that kids were getting.
That's amazing. You started this, you started on this path in high school, right? You already kind of had an experience with inequity and that is driving into your present day role.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mindfulness part too, I actually had to make a change in my junior year of high school. I moved from that really small school. We had like less than 20 kids in our class, and then moved to a bigger school where it was just major culture shock. And unfortunately, in that environment, I didn't thrive. There wasn't good as far as sports go. The coaching wasn't there. Like I didn't feel like it was my place. I didn't feel like I was given the opportunity like to show what I could do. And so it was really a hard transition. And again, looking back at that, if those coaches are there to actually cultivate kids and make the experience enjoyable, make the kids feel empowered, like a lot of the work the council's doing, like that could have been a whole different experience for me. So I want to give kids the opportunity for that. And then to lead into lifelong fitness and movement. Like it doesn't have to be, again, it doesn't have to be competitive. You don't have to have a natural talent for sports, but you have to be able to move. And I think that's the biggest lesson, is finding your way and finding what you like.
So Fit Kids is almost a fitness literacy organization, where kids are really discovering even rudimentary fitness moves because of the lack of access that they're experiencing in their neighborhoods and inability to afford organized sports and things like that. And then we also see some really great athletes in the classes in the schools and community organizations we work with. But you sound really well positioned to answer my question, my wondering about how basic physical literacy and knowledge of movement really aids people, even if they're not playing sports. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think that's one of the things in college that I did my master's in kinesiology, and it was very interesting to me to follow what happens to your body during movement. Well connected movement, I would say, and all the pathways in your body. From your heart rate raising to your breath rate increasing, and all the other metabolic processes that go on in your body is just amazing. And just to help people find a way to be active every day in some capacity. Again, just going for a walk, just getting outside, just doing daily chores rather than, vegging out on the couch and watching TV. Just the value of that. And like health is medicine, right? So all those processes that happen during fitness or movement all aid towards your overall health, well-being, and in your ability to live a healthy life. So I think just learning about all those pathways in your body. And then moving forward, I actually worked in corporate wellness for 12 years. And then in that environment, people are very sedentary. There was a call center. They're sitting on their chairs all day long, taking call after call after call. So very sedentary, very boring, very stressful. And so they had the opportunity to come into the health and wellness center, which I ran. And it was just amazing the different backgrounds that people come from, and they just don't know what exercise can do for their bodies, and they're scared. They're scared to walk through the door. They're worried about they don't have the right outfit or they don't have the right shoes. And it's really just about being able to feel comfortable in that environment and know that it's good for you and know that you can do it. You don't have to be a top athlete. Like I used to tell people, all you have to do is walk through the door and I'll help you. We can modify anything. You can do it all. Like we'll find a way. And so I think that's really empowering for people to learn that they can do it. And it's not just for this elite group of people.
It's a really inspiring perspective. I appreciate that so much. As somebody who's always strived to be an athlete, still am striving to be an athlete approaching age 60, and sometimes frustrated and embarrassed at my performance in the basketball gym. And that attitude of acceptance for oneself, I think, is really beautiful. I'm curious, how do you get that across?
I think one of the things is just to not overthink it. like I mentioned, just walk through the door and I can help you out. Like that's all you have to do is get here. Sometimes even for me, sometimes just getting out of bed and then, sometimes I have to do a really early start to be able to get my movement in. But just getting out of bed and that first thing is you just have to do it. Like you can do it. And just making that first step, we've heard about making that first step of just putting on your shoes or putting in your shoes in your bag the night before and just doing it. Like, don't overthink it, just do it. And then just realizing that, you don't have to push your body to that level of uncomfortableness. And, as a somewhat competitive athlete myself through my adult life, it's hard for me too sometimes. I always want to grasp that, I was just like, I'm just going to go to a CrossFit class and I'm just going to take it easy. I don't need to do the heavy weight anymore. But then every time I get sucked back into it just because of my competitive nature. But it doesn't have to be that way. All you have to do is move. And on those days you don't feel like it, like maybe you don't feel like going to a workout class, but maybe you feel like going for a walk, or maybe you feel like going outside and playing with your kids. Like it's just those basic things, and to just empower yourself and know that you and everybody can do it. And there's always a modification that you can do. There's always something else that you can do. I mean, folding laundry, doing dishes, like those are all forms of movement that we can accept as movement for our bodies.
Also, like washing the dishes is a good time to be mindful as well, right? You can integrate mindfulness practices into that time, and then you are again melding physical fitness, or at least movement, with mindfulness. So it feels like people can, even unknowingly, build their lives around movement and fitness if they're willing to accept that all of these supposedly mundane non-workout types of activities still count.
Yeah, and there's so many different pieces that count, our nutrition, our sleep. Like it's all so important to our bodies and what happens in our bodies throughout the day and how we handle stress. And I think, breath work, for example, is a great form of, you can incorporate movement into it. During your walks, you can focus on your breath. You can focus on, changing your breath or doing box breathing or whatever it may be, but you can really influence your body's systems and those pathways to increase health too.
So I feel like I keep derailing you from your fitness journey story, leading to your work for the state of California, but you keep saying interesting things that are prompting more questions. But I will back off a little bit and try to let you finish now, from when you were in the corporate wellness center to what you're doing now.
About 7 years ago, I was actually laid off from my corporate wellness job. I absolutely loved it. It was a job that I got when I had first started grad school, and went on as an intern and then got hired on full time shortly after that. And I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved helping people every day. And in that environment, we did actually have some former athletes and things come through, which was always fun, but that was never my passion. Like they already get it. They're there, they get it, they're good. But it's all the other people that we want to help that, haven't got it yet. And how can we make those little steps to make them get it? So absolutely love the job, very inspiring. I feel like I really made an impact and was able to help a lot of people, but did get laid off. So during my time there, I actually went back to school for my master's of public health. I knew I always wanted to get into public health to some capacity. So I thought it would be a good kind of tool to have in my belt just in case. And lo and behold, I needed it. So I transitioned into the state. I actually started with the corrections department, and I worked on their wellness program for their correctional staff. So as you can imagine, they are also very stressed, very long hours. It's not easy being in a correctional facility. So working on ways that they could work on their fitness and their well-being and their mindfulness, utilizing breath work and things like that to combat some of the stress that they constantly were given. And then I went over to Department of Public Health from there, which is where I am now. I actually did some teaching throughout the state. I was in charge of Rethink Your Drink program. So getting people to stop drinking sugar sweetened beverages and drink more water. So I did that for a couple years with a variety of other, did some physical education trainings as well, mostly to local health departments. And then the governor decided to do this council on physical activity and mental well-being, and I thought that was a perfect fit. So here I am today, and again, it's been about a year since I've been in this capacity. Learned a lot, met a lot of new people, new partners, and it's really inspiring how many resources are out there that we can just uplift and have the platform to be able to uplift that in the community and in schools.
Yeah, what if you could pick one favorite thing about your job, what is that?
I think it would be just the interactions with different partners. Like
Okay.
everybody has such great resources, and in the world we live in, I feel like there's just information overload. So, we get a lot of our information from the internet, but not knowing exactly what resources each entity has, and being able to put those together and seeing the shared goals and shared passions of all these different groups and industries and nonprofit organizations. I think that's a really inspiring, and I just hope to be able to make some kind of difference in being able to put all those pieces together and get those resources out to California.
By all appearances, you're doing a wonderful job at this, and we really appreciate it from Fit Kids' perspective, and certainly speaking on behalf of some of the kids that we work with, and the overall collective impact that the orgs have through your org is doing great things for our community. So much appreciated. We've got just a couple of minutes left, and I do want to give you the chance, if you want to shout out anybody, organizations, make sure that we got our social handles in there.
Gosh, so many great organizations. I feel like I would miss some great ones. But of course, thank you, Fit Kids. I think it's an amazing opportunity to get those resources out there, an all package deal that people can just pick up and run with. So I think that's huge as far as a resource. But so many great organizations I've met, the Center for Healing and Justice Through Sport, Positive Coaching Alliance, just so many and so many organizations and information that the council members bring as well. It's just really inspiring, and seeing that everybody has just this shared passion of the same thing, of trying to uplift the importance of movement, mindfulness, community belongingness is an important one too. But I know I missed some organizations, but there's so many great organizations.
Community belongingness is a great concept. I'm really glad you said that. What is happening in terms of inclusivity and acceptance among different people as they're on their fitness journeys, just from your unique perspective?
We have a variety of subcommittees for our council, and one of them is to build a more positive and inclusive sports culture. So again, like I touched on before, it's not always about the competitiveness. It is important. I think it is an important part of our culture. It drives us. Like, we love, Sacramento Kings, light the beam. But there's also just
You had to say that after last night.
Sorry. Beyond that, just because you're not a natural athlete and you don't have that ability doesn't mean that you can't appreciate skill development and play. And play is one of the big things for the council that we really want to push. Is, it's not necessarily that you're, out there playing an organized sport, but the value of play and fun and playfulness is really huge too. So just being able to get out there and participate in something, even if it's silly or goofy or whatever, but just reinventing that culture and making it so that more kids can do it, making sure that there's more access to it, and all abilities as well. There's just been this culture shift where it's so expensive, so time consuming to have our kids participate in sports, especially competitive sports. And just to kind of reel that back a little bit and bring it back to the overall value of movement.
Beautiful. That's a wonderful note to end on. I really appreciate your being with us today, Jessica.
Thank you for having me.